People, my people. Peace to everyone out there. So, this is part 2. Yesterday, I did part 1 to what I call a video that I call Trumpnosis. This is part 2. Is Donald Trump using hypnosis? Is he using hypnosis on your mind? Is he using hypnosis on his own staff members? If you don't know the techniques, you might not notice it. Come on. Wait for other people to get in the group. But that's basically how it is. Come on. So this is what it is, y'all. Part 2. Anybody have any questions, feel free to ask questions in the comments. If you saw the video yesterday, please watch that video, share it. But this is part 2. I was hoping that, you watched part 1, had some questions. Trumpnosis. Is President Trump using hypnotic techniques in order to persuade the public? Let's get to it. So yesterday, I was talking about trance, right? And really just the definition of hypnosis in the beginning of the video. A lot of people have a lot of misconceptions about what hypnosis is. And that's based upon things they've seen on TV, things they've seen in the movies, things they've been told. You don't use a stopwatch to necessarily have to put someone in a trance or put someone up under a hypnotic induction or spell. Now you like reading the comments from yesterday, people automatically think that when I asked, does President Trump use hypnotic techniques against us, you automatically think that it's something negative. A lot of people did in the comments. But it's not something negative. It's only negative if you have a negative reaction to those techniques. But as I've told you before, hypnosis is actually just a technique in order to get you in a trance. But you go through hypnotic states throughout your day, every day. There's 4 main brainwave states. You got your beta, your alpha, your theta, your delta. If you're going from the beta, which is basically your conscious state, to a light state of relaxation, which is the alpha state, you're going in a trance. You can easily do that by yourself without any help. You can daydream. You can get in your car and do what they call highway hypnosis, where you're just driving and you're in your mind, but you reach your destination anyway. So it's very common. It's just the word that has scared so many people. So when I said, does Donald Trump use hypnosis on people? A lot of people was like, oh, first it was a guy in my comments, and peace to that brother. And I hope he's watching. First thing you think is, oh, he must be biased against Donald Trump. I'm a Trump supporter, the guy said. Hey, I have no problem. That's on you. This is not necessarily a political video. This is a video from a hypnotherapist, which is me, explaining how other people in the field of hypnotherapy and neurolinguistic programming see some of the techniques and hear some of the techniques that Donald Trump is using. And we understand those techniques as either NLP techniques or hypnosis techniques. Now, I'm not saying that Donald Trump was trained in hypnosis. I'm not saying that he wasn't trained in hypnosis either. But of course, the home of hypnosis is in Las Vegas. And he has a casino for years and many years in Las Vegas. So I'm pretty sure he's familiar with hypnotic techniques. And whether you know it or not, a lot of successful businessmen, advertisers, marketers use these techniques. But you automatically think that it's something negative, like hypnosis is negative. No. Hypnosis is just programming your mind to do what it wants to do. Sometimes your mind can have a mind of its own. Self-sabotaging yourself, talking to yourself in negative ways, mentally though, all in your mind. Nobody hears it but you. So hypnosis is a way of training your mind to do what it wants, what it's supposed to do, or what you want it to do, or training your mind to get the certain behaviors and certain actions that you want. Because sometimes you're your own worst enemy. So hypnosis is not a negative thing per se, but it can be used as a negative thing by the wrong person. So, yesterday, I hope, like I said, you watched the video and it's part 1. Pardon me because I only shared it in my group by mistake. But today, Trumpnosis part 2. This is, any questions, feel free to share this video. But we're going to talk about it. So, yesterday I gave you a brief introduction to what hypnosis is. If you've been following me for a while, hopefully you're educated and know that it's not something that people do with a stopwatch. It's not something people do to control your mind. It's not anything negative per se. Anytime you turn on the television, it's called programming for a reason. Anytime you turn on the television, you're being hypnotized. If you're watching your favorite show, if you're watching a sporting event, it's just an extreme level of focus where you're so focused on whatever that's on the TV or on the movie screen, you're not even distracted by any external stimuli, things that's going on outside of what you're doing. You're so focused on watching that TV or that movie. You're hypnotized. If you ever been in love, that's a form of hypnosis. You're so infatuated with this person, especially a person that's brand new to you. It's actually a state of mindfulness, but it's still a state of hypnosis because it's self-hypnosis. All hypnosis is self-hypnosis, y'all. So Donald Trump. Does Donald Trump use hypnosis? Of course he does, but I'm going to let you decide based upon the evidence that I'm going to give you today. Some of these things I spoke in the first video, and I'm going to reiterate these things if you missed that video. But please check out that video, share this one, share that one with your friends. Because if you don't know, like I said, what the techniques are, you don't know somebody's doing it to you. And you can be doing hypnotic techniques, because I said they're very natural, and NLP techniques, but you don't even know you're doing because it's very natural. It's just the art of persuasion and the art of suggestion. And a lot of you have been persuaded to buy certain things, have suggested to do certain things by commercials, by the media, by social media, by all these things. So hypnosis is all around you. Anytime you go outside, you see those yellow arches. You don't even have to teach a child what those yellow arches are. Even if you go to McDonald's or not, they can recognize. That's color psychology. They use certain colors to hit your subconscious mind. They use certain things to make sure what they call bypass your critical factor. Because if you bypass the critical factor, which is the conscious mind, and things slip into the conscious mind, a good salesman can know that you probably will buy the product. So there's 5 stages to a trance. And I'm going to just break them down. I'm going to show you which of these stages that Donald Trump uses. The first stage is trauma. I went over this yesterday. Now, what does trauma do? Trauma puts an idea in your mind that happened to you, and it loops it over and over and over again. So if you was in a car accident, you might have a fear of being in another car accident based upon the memory you have of that last accident. It's very common. I help people with this. Some people have a fear after they've been in a car accident of driving again because they think they're going to be in another accident because you're replaying that image or that feeling that you had right before you was in that accident. It happens each and every day, each and every way. Any traumatic event will sink and stay in your subconscious part of your mind. And it will have effect on your behavior. So that's the first way. The second way it's concentrated attention. Like I said, if you're so focused on the TV screen, so focused on the movie, Netflix, whatever you're watching, that you don't even hear what's going on. You just focus on what you're watching, what you're doing. That could be at work, that could be in your leisure time, whatever you're doing, whatever activity you're doing, concentrated attention is a form of trance or a form of hypnosis. Someone didn't dangle a watch in front of you, but you're still in a trance-like state. Because remember, I said it's very natural. It's like daydreaming, but prolonged daydreaming. Because usually when you daydream, you're daydreaming for a couple minutes and you'll snap out of it. But when you're in a state of hypnosis, especially done by a hypnotherapist, they can keep you in a state of trance for however long. And you won't stay there. People automatically think, oh, if you go up under hypnosis, you're going to go into a sucking place like the movie Get Out, which had aspects of hypnosis in it. But it was to entertain you. It was to, exaggerate the truth. But it happens every day. So the third way is altered states of consciousness. If you ever had a drink of alcohol, some liquor, or anything that altered your state of mind, that's an altered state of consciousness. They teach you that in psychology. You can alter your state of consciousness by going from the beta state to the alpha state or even the theta state. You've altered your state of consciousness. And you know that people usually do things under the influence of alcohol that they probably wouldn't do because their consciousness has been what? Has been altered. Now the fourth way that you naturally, and everybody's experienced this, is dreams and visions. Because your subconscious mind never goes to sleep. See, the definition of hypnosis is, hypno means sleep or the coming on of sleep. So your conscious mind, which is the critical factor, has to what? Rest, sleep, in order for me to bypass it and put those suggestions or words of power into your subconscious mind. Because your subconscious mind is what holds all your not only your memories, but it's where your behaviors are. And they say we spend most of our day, about 90% of our day, in what? In past memories in our subconscious mind. Meaning that we're so into our subconscious mind that our conscious mind is just on autoplay, auto drive. All right? And the fifth way, and this is what Donald Trump uses very well. The fifth way of putting yourself into a hypnotic trance is by surprise or confusion. So when he gets on TV and says, the coronavirus is not a problem, then a day or two later, he'll say, well, the coronavirus is a big problem. We got to do something about it. He just confused you because he gave you two alternative contradicting answers, and he's supposed to be the one that you're going to for the answer. He's confused you. So you're now in a state of confusion, chaos. Like, that will have a long-lasting effect in your mind. So when someone surprised you, ever been to a surprise party, somebody had a surprise party for you, you'll have that memory in your mind of when somebody, hey, surprise! That memory will last in your mind. So those are the 5 natural ways that you just go into a trance. You can go into a trance naturally. It's not even, people make a lot out of the word hypnosis. It's very natural. That's what I'm trying to get into people's minds. So Donald Trump is a master. He was a master of these techniques as a businessman in the 80s and 90s, way before he was the president. In fact, in my opinion, just my opinion, that's the reason why he is the president. Because he knows these techniques and he knows how to get your attention. Whether you like him or don't like him, he's going to get your attention just by the crazy things he says. Yesterday I told y'all, the best way to master something is do what? Is to just leave it alone. But if you tune in to what he says, then guess what? You're going to get caught up into his trance, whether you like him or don't like him. I think not liking him is more powerful than liking him. Because yesterday I said, whatever you pay your attention to, whatever you give your attention to, you're feeding it your energy. You're feeding it. And whatever you feed is going to what? It's going to grow. So if you don't give in or feed into the energy or pay him any attention or pay him any mind, then you mastered him. He doesn't have any power over you. But once you let someone who knows these techniques into your mind and they start saying things to you and you're not critical of what they're saying, then guess what? It'll bypass the critical factor and it's easy to put the suggestions in your mind. See, the power of hypnosis is the power of imagination and it's the power of suggestions. You will watch this video. You will enjoy watching this video. Those are suggestions. Look both ways before you cross the street. That's a suggestion. Suggestions are very natural. You give them to yourself, you give them to others all the time. So it's not like a big deal, like you're making it seem like it's always got to be something negative when we're talking about trance, hypnosis. Now, what does trance do for you? Trance actually increases your attention and your focus. A lot of people come to me, they say, I'm having problems focusing in school, I'm having problems focusing at work, I'm procrastinating, I have goals that I want to do, but I'm not accomplishing them because my mind is... So when you're in a hypnotic state, and people usually sit in the same chair, and you see them in pictures like this on my page. But the thing is, they're not asleep. They can hear every single word that I say. If I say something that's inappropriate or something they don't like, they can wake up at any time. It's up to them. Remember what I said, all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. You can't put someone under a trance that doesn't want to be in a trance. So the second you watch Donald Trump, whether you like him or don't like him, he has the ability to what? To put you in a trance. Trance only comes from the word transit, which means to cross over. What are they crossing over? They're crossing over your conscious mind to your subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind, it has to be guarded. Because if the subconscious mind is not guarded, the subconscious mind believes everything you tell it. So if you see something on TV, your conscious mind knows it is fake, but your subconscious mind is a whole nother world. And most of you don't even know how to access your subconscious mind. So hypnosis is very powerful and it uses the art of suggestibility. Some people are more suggestive than others. See, the misconception is you have to be weak-minded to go in a trance or be under hypnosis. The misconception is you're not very smart. No, the most intelligent people in the world, the most successful businessmen. I told you yesterday, the man who wrote the book Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, all these people talk about on the low trance work, hypnosis, the subconscious mind, programming the subconscious mind. And that's how they became successful businessmen, marketers, advertisers. So Donald Trump, we know, was a successful businessman in the 80s and 90s. And like I said yesterday, it wasn't until he became the president that people started not to like him. Because in the 80s and 90s, everybody wanted to be what? Everybody wanted money like Donald Trump. Everybody in the 80s and 90s. He wasn't a problem then, when he was just a businessman, a mogul. I put on my page how many times Donald Trump's name, before he was president, how many times Donald Trump was name dropped in rap songs. Look it up on YouTube. They said at least 67, 68 times he was name dropped. You know? Because he was looked at as an icon before all this presidential stuff. So in my opinion, Donald Trump was put there for a reason. You know, to persuade you to do certain things, to distract you to do certain things. You know. So another technique that I talked about yesterday in regards to Donald Trump and everything, in order for you to be, hold on, because I said this yesterday. The word con man or con artist comes from the word confidence. In order to be a good con artist, you have to be confident when you're talking to the person. In order to be a good salesman, to go on a car lot, if the salesman is not confident that this is a good car, then you, the buyer, not going to want the car. A person has to be confident to fool you. Con man, confidence man. So Donald Trump has a certain charisma. He's charismatic. He has it's something about him. And that's the reason why I think they chose him for this position. Because you think the president is the ultimate power, but really he's not. It's the unseen hand. It's the people, that's funding, that's controlling things behind closed doors. You hear names like Rockefeller and the Rothschild family and J.P. Morgan and Bill Gates and all them type individuals. You don't vote for those people. You vote for elected officials who have a job for a certain amount of time. But you don't vote for the people who are really making the policies and the procedures of this country. You better check their electoral college. I've been telling people that since the 90s. They know who the president is going to be 2 years in advance. 2 years before you vote, they know who the president is going to be. They taught us that in political science class in the 90s. Dr. Mac Thompson. Peace to Dr. Mac Thompson. So, it's a very powerful thing, but you don't even know some of the techniques that he's using. So in order for you to be a good hypnotist, you have to be charismatic. You have to be able to gain someone's attention. Sometimes that's the reason why you don't like certain people. Well, he thinks he's all that, right? Because he has a certain charisma. There's something about him that draws you to him, whether you like him or you don't like him. You notice him when he walks in the room. You notice him when he talks. You might not like what he's saying. I'm just talking about a charismatic person in general, just not Trump. So Trump has a certain charisma about him. And it's a form of hypnosis that they teach you to build your self-confidence and your self-image called charisma hypnosis. Now this term, Trumpnosis, I didn't come up with. I'll be the first to admit that. Yesterday I told you it's another hypnotherapist named Richard Baker, who's been a hypnotherapist for over 20 years. He has a whole it's called Trumpnosis.com. Look it up. And he's breaking down and telling you, and he's not the only hypnotherapist like myself who's trying to tell you that he's using these techniques on you. I'm just telling you not to be a fool to these techniques, because you can easily be persuaded in the wrong direction if you don't know what someone is doing. Now, another technique that Trump uses is from NLP, and that's called pacing and leading. Now, pacing and leading is very, very powerful. Extremely, extremely powerful. And all pacing is, it just describes things that are true. Pacing just describes things that are true that you really can't deny. Let me give you an example. A lot of people are not working right now. The threat of coronavirus has caused us, all of us, most of us, to quarantine and stay in the house. Schools are out. You need to get a vaccination. You see how I just did that? Pace, 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 lead. It's almost like, remember watching Bugs Bunny and those old Tom and Jerry cartoons when they be like, you did it, no, you did it, no, you did it, no, I did it, no, I did it. They just switched it up on you real fast. So pace, 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 lead. You say 3 things that a person cannot deny. You're probably sitting in a chair watching me right now. You're either on your phone or computer right now. You're probably in the house right now because you're quarantined. Let's build a wall. You see how I did that? If I be like, because the first couple things, you're like, yeah, I'm in the house. Yeah, I'm not working. Yeah. You agreed to everything that I said, and I just threw that 4th thing in there. That's a technique. It's called pacing and leading. Another technique in NLP, and for those that don't know, NLP is neuro-linguistic programming. I call it the cousin of hypnosis. You don't have to go into trance and be like this, in a deep state of relaxation, what actually feels great. Ask anybody who's been in a trance, especially a trance by me, it feels wonderful because you've just never been so relaxed. You're so worked up. You feel with so much stress on your shoulders, stress on your mind, that you don't really take the time to just sit back and what? Relax. Relaxation is the key to everything. Because when you're stressed, when you're in fear, it has a chemical reaction in the body. When you're relaxed, it has an opposite chemical reaction in the body. So pacing and leading is a very powerful NLP technique. Another technique, and one of the first techniques you use, and I actually learned this in mental health working with clients, is building rapport. In order to work with someone, you must build rapport with them first, engaging with them, having the person feel comfortable around you. Give you an example of hypnosis and you don't even know it. And you can agree or you can accept it or reject it. But like I said, if you don't know the techniques, then you don't know someone is doing it to you. When you're in church, yes, I'm saying church. I'm not picking on my church people. But I'm a preacher's son, so I know this very well. And I know the techniques very well now, so I definitely know it very well. When you're in church, the first part of putting someone in a trance is called an induction. You're inducing the trance upon the person. So when you're in church and you're talking, and this minister in the beginning of the service, he's talking softly. He says, well, let us bow our heads in prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Ain't that how he talk? Real monotone. Right? But by the time he gets to the sermon, his voice heightens. So he relaxes you with the prayer. He relaxes you with what he's saying in the beginning. The nice music, it's relaxing you. It's making you feel comfortable being at church. You ever been at church, or there's a prime example for my Nation of Islam people. Watch Farrakhan speak. Farrakhan talking for like 3 or 4 hours. And it seems like only an hour and a half. You didn't even have to go to the bathroom or anything. Same thing with your Christian pastor. You might have was hungry, but for a moment, it was a time distortion. You was in a trance. What do you think the candles for on the altar? I was an acolyte in church. Where before the church service starts off, they light the altar. They put, and it's usually what? Candles on the altar. Candles naturally put you in an alpha state, a light relaxation state. That's why people light candles in their house, because it puts a different aura, a different feng shui, as they say, in your home when you light up candles. And don't let the candle be a scented candle. Then it's not only affecting your sight, it's affecting your smell. Because it's all about affecting your 5 senses. I'll get to that in a class, though. If I can satisfy your 5 senses, then I can bypass your critical factor. So in church, this happens all the time, whether you know it or not. They're putting you in a trance. I ain't saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. But then you go into a trance. There's time distortion. They speak to you softly, but by the time they get to the sermon, he's what? He's yelling. Oh, you need to do this. You need to pay your tithes. You need to... I'm not a good preacher imitator, but you know what I'm saying. Because most of them do it. When they're doing that, that's the suggestion part of the service. He's putting that into your mind of what he wants you to do when you leave the service. And then he ends it softly. Well, let's end in prayer. Same thing you do in a hypnotic session. You induce the trance. And once the person is under, then you put the suggestions in. Most of the time, I don't yell at people, though. But there is some people, when you study hypnosis, there's some people like to be talked to in an authoritarian way, and some people like to be talked to in a permissive way. It depends on the person. And I actually do a test that I ain't going to tell you about to determine which type of person you are. Most people are permissive. But some people need that energy. Give you another example of hypnosis. All my military people. You've been in basic training before, right? What do you think they was doing to you in basic training? They was programming your mind. Basic training. They're training you. They're training you. So what do you think he gets in your mind, your face, and he's this close to your face, and he's saying, Belvin, you ain't shit. You ain't gonna never be shit. You ain't a good soldier. They do the same things in fraternities and sororities. Hypnosis and trance work is more natural and is an everyday phenomenon. You need to start paying attention. I'm trying to turn you on the game. Anyone out there who knows the street game or the pimp game? It's hypnosis. So you said, well, that's negative. Yes, it is negative, but at the same time, you can use it as a positive thing to get what you want out of life. It all depends on the person, the practitioner, the intentions of the person. So back to Trump. And to persuade anybody, you got to get their attention first. But another powerful technique that Trump uses, whether you know it or not, and this is a powerful technique that I use as well to help people, not to hurt people. And it's called anchoring. Everything that I say, just like I said yesterday, look it up. All these words, induction, anchoring, any word that you don't know what I'm talking about, make sure, you can Google it. It takes like 2 seconds. But anchoring is very, now, anytime I use that anchoring technique, it always works. Always. I've never used it that I can say, and you can tell immediately that it's going to work right here and there. Because I test the person. Because usually a person will come to me and say, you know, Belvin, I need help with getting over my past relationship. I just keep on them. Just give you an example. I can't stop thinking about this person. They did me wrong, but you know, so what I do is put the person into, I would say, like an emotional state. And then I would anchor it. And then I would stack it. And then I would do what we call collapse the anchor. And then I guarantee you won't think about that person anymore. That's neuro-linguistic programming. That is changing the neuron patterns in your brain. Your neurons is what is all in your body, cells in your body that are electric communicators that tell your mind and your body what to do. That's where neuro-linguistic programming comes from. And anchoring is very powerful. When you're talking to somebody, don't let them touch you. Remember I said that. Because they can be anchoring certain emotions and you're not even aware about it. Give you an example. If you're in a good mood, I gave this example yesterday, somewhat. If you're in a good mood, or if you want to keep a person in a good mood, and you see they're just happy, they're just joyful, touch them on their shoulder right when they're happy and joyful. You just anchored that thought. So you can go away two or 3 days, come back 3 days later and that person's down, touch them on the shoulder and I bet they perk up. Touch them exactly the same way that you touched them 3 days ago and you just anchored that. You just changed, and you can do it to yourself. Anchoring is very powerful. Donald Trump uses those techniques all the time. So another thing, you know, people think, one of the things that, you know, people always talk about in regards to Donald Trump and what gets him a lot of attention is his insults. His insults are actually a technique. It's called linguistic kill shots. Look it up. Linguistic kill. It's a form of manipulation. That's what it is. It is what it is. If you know anything about NLP, the dudes who made up NLP, white cats, one was named Grinder and Bandler. They made up the form of NLP that we use today. They're the founders of it. But what they did was they studied this famous hypnotist named Milton Erickson. They studied his techniques. He was actually a doctor. And they studied his techniques, and they found a way of bypassing the critical factor without you knowing it. Now, if you read any of the books, and they have a whole lot of books by Grinder and Bandler, the founders of NLP, they would tell you that the point of NLP is to change either your behavior or someone else's behavior. Because that's what people come to me for. They want to change a behavior, use a negative behavior that's holding them back. Belvin, I want to change this, but I'm having trouble changing this. Help me change this behavior. In order to do that, I have to what? I have to contact their subconscious mind. I have to put suggestions in their subconscious mind. All right? So, what the linguistic kill shot does, and you're not even noticing what he's doing. He's getting his supporters hype. They love him. You see the crowds that 3, 4, 5,000 people in the crowd, and he's getting them all hype, his supporters. But when they are getting hype, the people who don't like him are getting mad. They're saying, look at how stupid these people are following this guy. But Donald Trump, I'm going to be honest with you, and this is my opinion, I don't think he likes his supporters, and I don't think he cares about the people who don't support him either. The point is, you're giving him and you're paying him attention. What's the next crazy thing he's going to say? Oh, the president is so stupid. He said the pandemic was all right. Now he's saying the pandemic is a problem. Which one is it? Remember, he's confusing you. I feel, personally, they put him in that position. I call him a court gesture. Because the real powers that be, the unseen hand that you don't see, that's who he's working for. He's got all of us distracted by the bullshit that comes out of his mouth. It's confusion. It's chaos. I'm going to give y'all a prediction. I could be right, I could be wrong. All of this quarantine stuff will be over by Hitler's birthday. Look up when Hitler's birthday. All cannabis smokers, look up when Hitler's birthday is. I just gave you a clue. You think that's by coincidence? Everything will go back. This is my prediction. I could be wrong. Hey. But everything will go back to normal by Hitler's birthday. And all of this, like Biggie said, would just be a dream. Oh, I remember when we was, kids was out of school for 2 weeks, and man, I remember that too. It'd be 2022. Yeah, man, I remember, man, we had to sit in the house. They was acting like we couldn't go anywhere. Man, I remember that, those 2 weeks, those 3 weeks, or whatever it's gonna be. My prediction is, because remember he said by the 12th, by Easter, Easter, that's a whole nother story. But he said by Easter, everything's gonna be back to normal. I say, and I don't try to read my mind and say why I'm saying it's Hitler's birthday. He's going to make everything good by Hitler's birthday. But you're going to forget all about it. I'm not saying the virus is fake. I'm not saying nothing. I'm just making a simple prediction. Don't put words in my mouth, because people love to put words in, especially my mouth. Because remember, if I know NLP, I might be putting up certain posts, putting up certain music in my story, that I'm looking for a certain reaction, certain response. It could be negative or positive. Response is a response. That's sort of what, to me, that they do. They do what they test the temperature. They test the temperature. To me, when Barack Obama was in office and we heard of all those police killings of black men, what were they doing? They was testing the temperature of black people. They was testing what we call the dissatisfaction level. This pandemic, if you listen to what Bill Gates said in 2015, he said that they have to run test runs to ensure that if it's some type of real virus, some type of real problem, that we will respond in a certain type of way. How are people responding to this right now? Think about it. I'm not implying anything. I said what I said. I'm just saying. They always got to check your temperature to see what your dissatisfaction level. If the dissatisfaction level is high or low, they need to know that to make their next move. Because there's moves made against you. And you can vote all you want. And people say, Belvin, our ancestors died for the right to vote. That is true. And our ancestors still been dying after they was allowed to vote. They didn't stop. They was dying before, then they was dying after. Hey, am I saying something that's not true? And I'm not saying, don't put words in my mouth. I'm not saying whether you should vote or not vote, or I'm not saying anything. But when people come and tell me you should vote because our ancestors died for you to have the right to vote. Our ancestors died after we had the right to vote too. Our people are still dying. We've been dying for the last 400 years. In regards to voting, I would say this. Your state and local elections are very important. I got on my Winston State hat. I was a political science major. Your state and local elections are very, very important. Now, on a national level, if we as a people don't either have our own political party or if we don't have our own lobby groups, look up what a lobby group, an interest group that talks about our interests. Because most of the time, the candidates up there, they don't talk about your interests. So you have to form an interest group or a lobby group to get certain people's attention. Because it's all about the dollar bills, y'all. And those lobby groups contribute money to the campaigns. So, I'm gonna see what my man Cedric said. Yo, speak on it. Mental guy Chambers, we ain't even right. So, yo, another form of hypnosis that Trump could be using, because like I said, I'm not saying he was ever trained. I'm not saying he wasn't trained. But I'm sure he's aware of these techniques as a businessman. Is covert and mass hypnosis. Now, covert hypnosis, all it does is align your thoughts to a desired outcome without you knowing it. If I want you to do something, but I don't want to put the thought in your mind or say it out loud, there's a technique called covert hypnosis. And remember, I said you don't have to close your eyes to be hypnotized. You go through states of trance, like I said in the beginning of this video, in and out all day. You go from beta to alpha. Theta is deep relaxation, and delta is actually sleep. And when you've been asleep for like 60 to 90 minutes, you can go in what we call REM sleep, which is rapid eye movement sleep. That's where you're having the dreams and the visions. Because like I said, the subconscious mind never sleeps. But the conscious mind needs to rest, needs to sleep. That's why they say you need 8 hours. So, mass hypnosis. Mass hypnosis is just what it sounds. It's when you hypnotize, and sometimes I hypnotize people in groups, but mass hypnosis is when you're hypnotizing thousands of people, millions of people. And remember I said the best instrument that is used to hypnotize people is what? Your tell lie vision. Tell lies visually. Because like I said, your subconscious mind doesn't know if it's real or if it's fake. Your conscious mind knows that's not real. But if you watched it, your subconscious mind is watching it too. And your subconscious mind is going to think it's real. Now, when you say things over and over and over again repetitively, that's another technique we do in hypnosis. If you ever watch any of my sessions, I got some of them recorded, I'll say things like, relax. You're calm. Relax. Deeper. See, if I keep on saying these words over and over while you relax, then guess what? You're going to be calm. You're going to go deeper. Because your subconscious mind is picking it up, and your conscious mind is just chilling there. Because your conscious mind needs to be on guard. Remember I said most of the day, they say 90-95% of our day we spend in our subconscious mind? That's not always good. The subconscious mind is very powerful, but you do need that conscious mind to guard your subconscious thoughts. Because whatever gets in your subconscious mind is going to affect the way you think, it's going to affect the way you feel, and it's going to affect the way you behave. So hypnosis, especially mass hypnosis, the TV, social media, they can put you in fear. You ever study, what's the dude, somebody said in the comments if I get it wrong, his name was Wells. I think it was what was that? In the early 1900s, I think. He came out with this broadcast over the radio when he was talking about aliens was coming and UFOs. Everybody believed it. Everybody was in fear. They didn't see any aliens and UFOs outside, but they was listening to the radio, and this dude, I think it was Orson Welles, everybody, you can be placed in fear just based upon someone saying something to your mind. You can be put in fear and trauma. Those are anchors. If you just getting on, I was talking about the 5 different ways that you can go into trance, and fear and confusion is one of the ways that the media, mass hypnosis used against us, and Donald Trump, he loves to confuse you. He'll say one thing and contradict himself sometimes in the same day. Right? Another thing, all great salesmen use hypnosis, all marketers use hypnosis, but another thing, where's my notes? Another thing, if you realize it, I want you to look at the people's face, his staff members. Not only does he have the public in a state of trance, he has the people who work for him in a state of trance. Why? Or how? They're in fear. You can see it's a doctor who's an expert on this coronavirus, on viruses, on epidemics. He don't even allow a dude to talk. And you see him behind him, he be sweating. Because he knows that this dude is giving misinformation out. He's giving, the president is giving fake news out. And he's the doctor. He's one, in any situation, in the 5% nation, we call it being the best of knowers. In any situation, there's someone who's the best of knower. I'm not a plumber. So if a plumber comes over here, he knows he's the best of knower. He knows how to plumb, to be a plumber. Right? If you're getting your car worked on and you don't know anything about the car, the mechanic is what? The best of knowers. He can tell you anything. Or you need a Cadillac converter. Or you need... It's all Japanese to you because he's speaking another language. But he's the best to know it. So you what? You trust him. So when you're an authority figure and you're the person that most people figure is the best of knowers in that situation, and when people come to you and you say contradictory, confusing things, now that's what you call being in a sunken place. That's what you call it. Because in the movie Get Out, remember she was talking to him and she made him think about something that happened when he was young, and she asked him, do you hear the rain outside? I think it was something that happened to his mother. And then soon as he said, yeah, what happened? He went into a sunken place. Now they're exaggerating because most people say, if you go get hypnotized by him, he's going to put you in a sunken place. I say you're already in a sunken place, because if you watch TV, if you're on social media, you're in a sunken place because there are things that's bypassing your critical factor that's going into your mind and it's affecting you and you don't even know it. I'm giving you game, y'all. Let me give you game, because if you don't know it, you don't know what's happening. You just think it's some people just talking to you. You just think when somebody touch you, they just touching your shoulder for no reason. But they're anchoring you. They might not even know that they're doing it. Some people do these techniques and are good at these techniques, naturals. And they've never been to a hypnosis class. They've never been to an NLP class. Some people are just natural. Remember, it's the art of persuasion. Think about somebody right now is good at getting people to do things for them. Whether it's a sob story, oh, I don't have any food, there's a pandemic outside. Like one of my partners, Rashawn, my man in the A. The guy Rashawn, he told me the other day, he's telling people, I need money to go to work during this pandemic. Can you please just send me some money? He said he got up to $200 somebody sent him. The art of persuasion. The best way to master something is to what? Is to leave it alone. Don't even listen to them. Don't even pick up the phone, because you know certain people are going to say some bullshit certain times. So, Donald Trump, whether he knows it or not, is a wizard at these techniques. Now, yesterday, I brought some receipts. I brought up a couple articles. And check out that video. And share this video today, y'all. Share this video. So, I read out of this journal of hypnotism. I used to get these journals all the time. Now, there's a dude, I told you about the one dude, Richard Baker, who has his own website called Trumpnosis. I didn't make up that term. And I'm not the first hypnotherapist that said that Trump is using these techniques. They said he's been using these techniques as far as the presidency ever since like 2015, 2016. Because you would pull up a lot of articles about Trumpnosis and it goes back to that far. But it's another dude that's been very critical, another hypnotherapist dude that's been very critical of Trump using these techniques, and the American public doesn't know it, and his name is Scott Adams. Scott Adams is the creator of the popular cartoon strip Dilbert. And he's suggesting that Trump is using hypnosis. He's a hypnotherapist, so he understands the techniques. He says a lot of the things that the media were reporting as some sort of random insults and blusters and just Trump being Trump look to me like a lot of deep techniques that I recognize in the field of hypnosis and persuasion. Now, Scott Adams is an international celebrity cartoonist and author, and he's also a trained hypnotist. A lot of people don't even tell you that they're hypnotists. But they use those techniques on you. That's like a way of covert hypnosis. Now, let me tell you what in this article he's saying the extra powers that hypnosis gives to you. One, and it's three of them he gives. It gives you extra relaxation, extra imagination, and extra focus. You say, well, that doesn't sound like a lot. How is that like powerful? Imagination is everything, y'all. If you can't see it in your mind, or whatever picture you put in your mind, if you put a negative picture in your mind, then guess what? It's going to have a negative effect. If you have a goal and you can't picture the end result and you accomplishing that goal, then chances are you won't accomplish that goal. That's one of the things that I have to do to help people out with their goals. I have to make them image themselves, whatever the goal they have in their mind, whether it be stop smoking, whether it be stop procrastinating, whether it be learning more, whatever it is, there's no limit to the things I can help you with, because everything starts in your mind. I don't have to, let's say if someone helped me, I want to be better at golf. I don't have to know golf to help you. Why? Because in the beginning, I'm going to do an assessment on you, and you're going to tell me exactly what you want from this session. And that's exactly what I'm going to put in your mind. And it's not going to be my words, it's going to be your words. That's why I write them down. If you ever got a session from me, I'm writing everything down that you say in the beginning. Because I'm going to say exactly what you said to me to your own self, so it'll have an effect over the way you think, you feel, and behave. But Adam, the dude Scott Adams, who's very critical of Trump using hypnosis, Adam here reveals that the secret behind hypnosis, behind Trump's charisma, imagination. That's the secret, is his charisma and your ability to imagine. Imagination is everything, y'all. Napoleon once said, imagination rules the world. Now yesterday, and this is just like a little slogan People always confuse hypnosis with voodoo. Oh, you doing voodoo. It's just like voodoo. It doesn't work unless you believe in it. Yeah, nothing works unless you believe in it. Belief is one of the most powerful things in this world. Your beliefs. That's why people fight over your beliefs. Because if I can get you to believe something, then guess what? It doesn't matter if it's real or not, it's real to you. Because you create your own what? You create your own reality. Put some questions in there. I'm going to answer some questions at the end. So, Donald Trump uses these things all the time, whether you know it or not. And it's just not Donald Trump. Every president, from Clinton to Obama, Obama had you in a trance. I ain't even talking about Obama, because if I start talking about him, you're going to get emotional. Anytime you get emotional, guess what? You're not thinking. You're emotional. You're not processing information well when you're emotional. You're not. Think about when you arguing with your spouse. Y'all arguing and saying harsh words to each other. You're not going to get anything accomplished like that. But when you calm down, people have level heads, and you communicate in a certain type of way, you can fix the problem. But you can't fix the problem the other way. You just can't do it because you're not thinking properly. And sometimes, I'm not talking junk, when it comes to people's religion, when it comes to people's politics. Because remember, if you follow me, I say all the time, I don't like talking religion and politics with people. Why? Because they get emotional. And a lot of you are emotional about Trump. But like I said yesterday, and like I think I said in the beginning of this video, in the 80s and 90s, people liked Trump. They wanted to be like Trump. Why? Money. Everybody wants money, right? Well, he was the person that had the money. He was the one that had the casinos in Atlantic City. He had the Trump Towers in New York. He had the casinos in Vegas. People used to name drop Donald Trump all the time in reference to money. He wasn't a villain until he ran for presidency. And like I said, I think he was put there on purpose just to distract us from what they're really out here doing. What the real agenda is. And as I said in another video, their goal from, I'm going to say since the 1500s, when they was let out of Europe. Columbus came to America, what they said, in 1492. Since the 1500s, the goal of the European was to rule the world. Because he was locked up in Europe for a certain amount of years, what they call the Dark Ages. He was locked up in Europe. EU means hillside, Rope means the bond in. And then once he was allowed to leave and he got on ships, he found that it was what? A new world across the Atlantic Ocean. That's where the term racism comes from, because it's a race. They're trying to see, it was 9 European nations, and they was trying to see who could conquer the world and who could take up and get more land than anybody else. It was a race. Racism. So, they've always had this idea of one world government. One world government. And I don't mean to point at you, because wherever you point, you send your energy. But the United Nations, yeah, they have the Geneva Convention, but it's the United Nations. I was talking about another video of the Trilateral Commission, the Council on Fire, the Jason Society, the Club of Rome, all these different organizations that you never hear about, that all these high influential leaders from all these different groups that you think are beefing, like Russia and America, but they really like wrestling. Like when you're watching wrestling, you're thinking, oh, Ric Flair don't like Hulk Hogan. Oh man, you see that blood in the ring, man? He don't like him. But behind closed doors, they're going out to dinner and lunch together. You think the Democrats don't like Republicans, left wing, right wing, but it's the same damn bird. But you don't get that. Because, and I ain't talking junk about voting, but what's the point in voting if you're an uneducated voter? Meaning that, okay, you voted for your choice of the president, but you just voted everybody Democratic. You don't know about any of the people that you voted for, but I just voted for everybody else because I don't like the Republicans. So I'm going to just vote everybody Democratic. Word? That's what you're going to do? You think you're going to change something for yourself? You think that you're going to change something for your people like that? I could be wrong. I could be. But I'm right. But I could be wrong. So, hey. Let me take some questions because this is part 2. I ain't going to be up here forever. I'm upstairs in my office. Let me see if I can go back to the beginning. Ask some questions, y'all. Let me see who in the group. Who in the group with me? I can't see all. I got my man Milgo. Peace to Milgo. My man Cedric. Miss Bird is in here. I got Hanif Bey. My man Eric Spears in Philly. Let me see. Saladin checked in. My man Carl Samuels. Let me see. What is Milgo saying? Right frequencies. My man, peace to the God Bilal. My man, Truth in the building. Truth. Miss Holiday. I hope I'm saying that right. It will be a new normal after. Yeah, right. Truth said it will be a new normal after this, just like 9/11. Remember 9/11? I was living in Philly then. There was no one out on the street. They didn't call, I don't remember them saying martial law, but they didn't have to say martial law. Everybody was so scared that they stayed in the house. And at that time, I was living off of Germantown Avenue in Philadelphia. And me, being from down south, you know, when you go to the city, there's always people walking around. You see some bums on the street, just people always walking. But on that day, it was like a ghost town. It was like Winston-Salem, North Carolina, where I'm from, on a Sunday. There wasn't nobody outside. And then everything went back to normal, didn't it? Think of how many things that they took away from us as far as privacy and freedom under the disguise of fear and terrorism. Mind you, they never found any weapons of mass destruction. And everything went right back to normal. What was the psychic chick? What was her name? Sylvia Brown, that everybody was talking about, how she gave a prediction back in the day about this virus, and it was going to be a virus that hit, and as soon as the virus comes, it's going to disappear, and people are going to go back to normal. Hey, I ain't saying it's true. But I said my prediction in the beginning, by the time Hitler's birthday comes around, and don't try to put my words in my mouth like you can make a connection for me. I'm just saying, Hitler's birthday is on 4/20, and by 4/20, everything, hopefully, will go back to normal. And we'll forget all about this little quarantine period. Let me see if I got some questions in here. Brother D, Disco Dean in the house, my man from Philly. Got the God King Wise from D Mecca, Detroit in the house. Emily Dunlap is in the house. I think Bilal is talking to Milgo. I don't know what y'all talking about. I see your point. Ignorance is bliss to the masses. Okay. Thomas Felton is in the house. Landon Carey is in the house. Hope I said your name right. Michi Soul Rebel joined in. This is why I do regular programming in my kingdom. TV Bombard is on 10. Right. If you, one thing about this pandemic and this epidemic, if you watch anytime, it ain't just this pandemic. The news, and y'all know it, the news is used. The news doesn't make you feel good. When you watch the news, they talk about all the murders and everybody getting robbed. And when you watch the everyday news, even when there's not a pandemic going on, it's having an effect on you. That's why I don't watch the news sometimes. Because the news will make you feel bad. They do this on purpose. And if you notice, and this is just me talking. This is because I tell you when it's my opinion. Do you notice no matter where you go, they always have a lot of, or at least one black person on the news? Why? Because he's giving you bad news. That's some psychological shit. I ain't gonna even break that down. Anyway, Raven Gore piece. The guy predicted Trump to me and Jack Gunn. Miss Mitchell. Because I don't want to mess up y'all first name. That's why these kids get dumbed down so easy. They follow music and trends with no imagination. Yeah, music. Another way you can get hypnotized. And peace to Sister Halima. I think she lives in Charlotte, I think. Another way you can get hypnotized through music. It was a person who has what you call it? Dang, I can't think of the word right now. But music can be remembered. Alzheimer's. A person with Alzheimer's might not remember their family members. Might not even remember the children that they fathered or mother. But guess what? You put their favorite song on, they'll remember it. Because songs have a long-lasting impression on your subconscious mind. You might can't think of the words to a certain song, but the beat is still in your mind. And a part of the song is called the what? The hook. It's hooking you in. And remember when I said earlier, anytime you repeat something over and over again, make America great, make America great, make America great, make America great. Anytime you repeat something over and over again, that's a technique that you use in hypnosis. Because you're putting it repetitively in the person's mind. So the hook hooks you in. And it's usually the easiest part of the song to remember. So imagination and what they call believed in imagination is everything. Your beliefs is everything. Remember I wrote the first video I did called Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars Part 1. I talked about silent weapons for quiet wars and how they have basically a war over your perceptions. Now yesterday, peace and meet you, Soul Rebel. Let me see what Emily Dunlap is saying. I was trying to figure out his name. I kept up. So Howard Wells? Oh, I thought it was Orson Welles. But anyway, peace to Willie Jackson. Rick Welch, my man Marlon in the house. Marlon, I sent you that thing about Zoom. I don't know, because I sent us a button on here when I went on live where we can split the screen. Holler at me about that if you want to do some videos later. Tia Dalton, peace. So, what was I about to say? So remember, hypnosis is not voodoo. Is you do. Hypnosis is not voodoo. It's you do. You're the one that's doing it. There's no outside demon and no outside entity. You have to learn how to control your mind. You're doing it. I'm just guiding you through the process. I'm a guide. Not God. I'm not saying God this time, but God means good orderly direction. But I'm guiding you. I'm guiding you through your subconscious mind. Because most people don't even know how to access their subconscious mind. So, I don't know why people call me right now, but I guess they want something. But anyway, what was another thing I was going to talk about? Something I talked about yesterday. Because I don't see y'all have any questions. And I don't like that. You know why I don't like that? Because you should question, even if it sounds good, even if it sounds factual, you should always question. Never take anything on face value. Never. Michi Soul Rebel put call and response. That's another part of it. And what you mean? I have to, when I'm building rapport with you, I have to get you I have to get you compliant. So remember I said you can't hypnotize someone that doesn't want to be hypnotized. If I say, close your eyes, and you're like, nah, I ain't closing my eyes, then guess what? You won't be hypnotized. Well, not that way. I mean, I can do it another way. I ain't going to talk about that. But for the most part, I would want a person to want to be hypnotized because that means you want the change to occur. But when you want somebody, like I said with Donald Trump, if you want to get someone to do something without them knowing it, it's called what? Covert hypnosis, which is a technique. Don't believe anything I said from this video or the last video. Look it up. We got Google. We got phones. Just Google it. What does linguistic kill shot mean? What does induction mean? What is hypnosis? Study it. Don't believe me. That's my favorite word. Don't believe anything I say. Look it up. And stop believing everything that people say, including the news, including Donald Trump. Use your critical mind.